Fire! Okay, right. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Hello, everyone. I think we're live. Welcome to EF, the Everything Football Show. So I know this channel is a Bayern channel, but I was like, you know what? There's no football. We might as well just do a segment or a show where we just talk about everything football, right? And I'm just gonna enjoy this. So the topic of today is Manchester United's manager Ole Gunnar Solkjaer good enough for Manchester United? Is he good enough? Is he a crap coach like everyone says he is? Or is he some genius waiting to be awoken? Because of the recent form of United, I think a lot of United fans would have the opinion that he's the greatest manager in the world. Now, I don't have that opinion. I'm actually going to explain why I think Ole Gunnar Solkjaer is still lacking what Manchester United need. Now, I follow Bayern Munich 90% of my footballing, but I also am a football fan. I watch other teams, not like I care about them, but I watch the Premier League, I watch Serie A, I watch La Liga. I mean, there's only one match in La Liga everyone's going to be watching. Classico between Getafe versus Valencia and Sevilla. No, I'm kidding. It's obviously the game Sevilla versus Mallorca, that's the one everyone likes to watch. So I don't know why I'm saying that, but this is gonna be fun. So now let's talk about Manchester United. So first of all, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, I was gonna say over the last 3 years, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, so about 7 years, United have been lacking something. They've been lacking an identity, and I'm gonna explain why I think Solskjaer doesn't add that. See, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, he told a good team to start playing good, and they played well. I think when he came in, right, it was the moments of individual brilliance every single weekend from Pogba, Rashford, Martial, all the players that hadn't been in form under Mourinho, all of a sudden came and were in form. I gotta go lock my door. Oh, turns out it was already locked. I should have just looked at it, but it was so easy for Solskjaer to tell Paul Pogba, hey, be the best midfielder in the world, create 5 chances per game. And because of Pogba's form, Rashford's form, all these players, Solskjaer just had a great 3 months where he was just flying. Even got them into a top 4 Champions League spot race. But the thing was, ultimately he faltered because teams started figuring out the best way to play Manchester United isn't to try to play football against them, give them the ball. Give Manchester United the ball. Don't try having possession. Give them the ball to break you down. And then you started seeing the problems that had happened in the beginning of this season. For me, those problems should have been like direct evidence that you don't hire the coach. You don't hire Solskjaer. Because I think Bayern had the situation with Niko Kovac where you get an ex-legend of the, well, not really. Solskjaer and Kovac are actually pretty similar where they're not really like legends. They're going to go down for some of the things he did. Kovac won Bayern the double, one of the hardest doubles ever, and he was immense in that season. Oh, I mean, he didn't win it, but he played a huge part in it. So did Solskjaer. Did he win United the 99 final? No! The Bayern player, I forgot his name, he miscleared the ball and it ended up with a United player, and ultimately that's how they scored 2 injury time goals. I hated the fact that we couldn't just clear the ball. If we clear the ball, we win that Champions League final 1-0. But no, we're Bayern Munich, so we bottle things. But the thing with Solskjaer for me and Kovac is they were ex-legends, quote unquote, that are given a job that they didn't really qualify for. I mean, Kovac is a way better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Kovac actually won a trophy. He won versus Bayern Munich in a final of the DFB Cup. I mean, if you do that, you can get any job in the world, I think. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's history was he relegated Cardiff, where he didn't like press the relegate button. He managed to get them relegated. That's the wording for it. And then he went to Mulder, where in his country, it's easy league, let's be honest. Mulder are probably like the Manchester City of the Norwegian league. They probably win every single year. So I don't think it was like a huge accomplishment that he did well. And the music is too loud. Okay. Thanks for telling me. Alright. I don't think it's like a huge accomplishment that he won Mulder the way he did. But I think the music should be alright now. I don't think it's a huge accomplishment that he won at Mulder. I don't think it is. I think when you come back to the Premier League where you got a team relegated, I think that's where you really have to prove yourself. And if you go to a top 5 league, that's where you have to prove yourself. And I think for United, what they lacked after Sir Alex Ferguson retired was the identity. One thing with Sir Alex Ferguson that I always respected was that he wasn't a tactical genius, but he didn't pretend to be. Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't some smart, freaking out of this world genius manager. He's not Pep. He didn't play a better brand of football than Pep. He didn't play better football than Johan Cruyff. He didn't reinvent football like Pep Guardiola and all these people did. He didn't do that. What he did was he would take the era that football was in and make a very functioning team. Man management was his thing, right? People call it the hairdryer treatment, whatever he did. But he was so good at that. What he would do after football started changing was just sack the assistant manager and hire a new one who had inventive ideas. And that's how he survived for so long. You don't do that just by having a philosophy. Your philosophy will always get old. But what keeps going for Sir Alex Ferguson tends to be the ability to get new and get ahead of the times and reinvent the team somehow. And that's what he was really good at, Sir Alex Ferguson, right? There was a time where football was a bit more defensive. So they would play the defensive 4-4-2, but then football would get more technical, so they would move to different formations like the 4-2-3-1, the 4-3-3, different formations like that, the 4-2-4. And United had these moments where they would just switch because of Sir Alex Ferguson hiring different assistant managers to aid him. And that's really where I feel United lacked the identity. When you think of Ajax, what is one thing that pops in your head? Youthful, total football. I mean, come on. Youthful teams playing total football. Total football is the idea that every single player, 10 out of 10 players, in the attacking whatever, without the goalkeeper, can play any position on the pitch at any given moment in the game, right? And that makes them a very hard team to play because everyone is comfortable everywhere on the pitch, right? Freaking Tadic can drop in between the center backs and carry the ball because he has the technical intelligence to do that. And one thing with Ajax players is they have a unique intelligence on the pitch. I've never seen players that intelligent. They're a very intelligent bunch of players, right? And when you think of Barcelona, you think of tiki-taka. I mean, even before Pep, Barcelona, for their history with Johan Cruyff and all these managers, had been playing possession football. What Pep did was he took the striker and made him useless and just, he put that space in, then it was just tiki-taka. They were literally passing the ball in triangles on the edge of the opposition box, right next to their goalkeeper. That's what Pep's team could do to you. And that was that, right? And then when you think of Bayern Munich, you think of possession, high intensity possession. That's us, right? We make loads of tackles per game. We have the ball. We control the game in your half. We put in lots of crosses, well-built crosses, and we try to get our big strikers to score, and we get midfielders running in. That's the philosophy you think of, okay? How about Atletico Madrid? Simeone, you think of a team that's literally hell to break down. You would have to break every bone in your body to get past their defense, and that's how they play. Real Madrid, right? Of course, this isn't a philosophy, but Real Madrid, you think of the Galacticos, the biggest and best players in the world playing on the best team. Well, not the best team, I'm saying like on one team, right? You have Raul, you have all these big boy names, and they just keep doing it. Every 10 years, they buy players for $1 billion. They don't care about the youth. With Barcelona as well, you think about La Masia, how they develop players through the youth as well, through the influences of Johan Cruyff, right? So every team has a philosophy except Manchester United. And what they needed wasn't a manager who had won these things. You needed a manager with a philosophy, an ethos that took the elements from the old Manchester United teams and infused it into his own. Someone like a Julian Nagelsmann, someone like a Mauricio Pochettino, someone with a footballing philosophy. I want to be a manager in my future at some point, right? Me personally, I would love to manage in the future, maybe when I'm 40, 35, right? I'll get my UEFA coaching licenses in my 20s. That's the plan, right? I'll get enough money to do it. and I'll try to get as much coaching experience. And for me, I already know how I want my teams to play. Like, sometimes I imagine scenarios in games and how I would make tactical changes. I watch football sometimes not for just the fun and the hobby of it, but because I'm actually studying the game. I'm studying how different managers make formation switches. I watch some old games and I think about how I would be approaching the game if I was the manager that lost, how I would change things. The Brazil versus Germany game, I would think about that, right? I already have a tactical philosophy of how I would like my teams if I was managing to play. And that's absolutely exactly what Solskjaer doesn't have. Solskjaer doesn't have a philosophy. If you think of Manchester United's play style, I think most people would just say counterattack, because it's true. And Manchester City, you beat them twice. I mean, you do the double over Manchester City in the league, right? But what's the ethos when it comes to beating teams lower than Manchester City? What's the identity you're trying to portray as a coach? What's that? Where are you trying to take the team? What are you trying to infuse into them? How are you trying to get them to make runs? What's the patterns of play? That's what every football team counterattacks at some point in games. Every single team will soak up pressure. Bayern Munich, we soak up pressure for 5 minutes of every game at some point, where teams are feel energetic, something happened that switched the momentum, and the other team just takes the ball and they start pummeling us, right? The little shifts in momentum. And then we have to sit back and counterattack. And that's how sometimes we score a lot of goals, in those moments where the other team comes at us and opens up space for our fast wingers to get into. But Manchester United, it seems like that's the only way they play. Like, if we couldn't create chances through counterattacks, we just have possession, we try to carve the opposition open with movement. It's incredible, right? As someone who thinks football tactically, we have a tactically astute team, right? You don't need Bruno Fernandes to create chances. You don't. Because do Manchester City have... If you take De Bruyne out of Man City and replace him with, someone like Jesse Lingard, who hasn't had a lot of assists, Lingard would probably start getting 5+ assists per season, right? Where at United he gets 0, right? But not because he's a brilliant player in the City team, but because of the system City play, he would know exactly where to be and how to get assists. De Bruyne gets the exact same assist every single week, and people are like, wow, that's crazy. It's because of the way they play. City score 80% of their goals in the exact same way. It's, controlled possession, right? And then when the right moment hits, hit a man in between the half spaces, De Bruyne or David Silva. They hit a winger, and a winger, crosses into a space on the back post or in the penalty area. Aguero scores, or Sterling scores, or Bernardo Silva scores, or De Bruyne even picks up the ball at the edge of the box and smacks it in. 80% of their goals probably come exactly like that. You can almost tell when City are about to score, because you know how they're going to score. The thing is, you just don't know how to stop it. You don't know how to stop when they're passing at 50 miles per hour and confusing your defense, right? Pep doesn't say we don't pass. Pep says we don't pass the ball. We try to move the opposition. That's how City play. They don't even play like they're trying to open you up. They play as if they're trying to move you, and then eventually you move. You just make one shift and City are in. And that's the thing. That's what a pattern of play is. Do United have that? No. For me, it always looks like the way they score is counterattack, and if that doesn't work, wait on individual errors, and that's it. That's how they score. Or Marcus Rashford or Martial or someone, or even a Bruno Fernandes will crack a shot from somewhere, dribble through 3 players, and put it in. That's exactly how you score. Think about the game versus PSG. It was such a weird performance, because did United deserve any of the goals? I mean, if Buffon is just sharper, no, they don't score any goals at all. They don't, because that penalty was, it was a penalty, but still, do you understand what I'm saying? There's no ethos. There's no tactical philosophy from Solskjaer. There's no idea and identity. There's none of that. And I think that's the issue at Manchester United. It's not the lack of good players. Because if you're good enough to go draw against Liverpool, when Liverpool are steamrolling every team, then you're good enough to freaking win the league. But if United had Pochettino, I think they'd win the Premier League in the next 2 years. I think they would be competing for the Champions League every year. They would be in the semi-finals. I'm telling you, because the players, Paul Pogba, man, come on. You have Pogba. You spent like 100 million plus on defenders. Wan-Bissaka, one of the best. He is the best defensive 1v1 right back in Europe. He is. As much, I'd love to say it's someone from Bayern, but we don't have a right back. Our right back is a hologram, Benjamin Pavard. I call him Pavardinho because he's never gonna be Ronaldinho, but Pavardinho. And I think about also just the defense. Harry Maguire, good. Eric Bailly. Look at your defensive depth. You have a kid that came from the English Championship and he's doing decent, right? And you have Lindelof and you have Bailey and the cover, De Gea, good. And whenever I see that other backup goalkeeper, he's always good, right? And then I look in the midfield, Fred. Everyone's saying he's better than Kante, which I don't agree with, but still, he's good, right? You think of, what other midfielders? Only Pogba, good. Bruno Fernandes, good. Like everywhere you go is good. Daniel James, he's good. Duh, right? And you have so many players that I think if they had a right manager and a right coach, they would be playing 10 times better. So is Ole Gunnar Solkjaer good enough for Manchester United? No, absolutely not. So since no one's watching live, leave a like on the video if you are enjoying it so far. And also, I'm saying for the future viewers that are going to watch this, because I know people only like to watch this after I'm done streaming. For some reason, they like to click on it after and then comment. But like and subscribe. The EF show, I think will be daily, and then I also make a Bayern Now video. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's it, really, isn't it? Yeah, thank you everyone so much for watching. EF show out. Jeez, I'll go live. I need to stop saying stuff like the EF show. What's that about? How can you say EF show out? What are you trying to